What's up, metalheads? Today, it's not a Metal's Best by Metal's Best. And it's not a Metal Inquisition. It's not Monday. I'm going to do a video interview with none other than Damien Lee Thorr, the founder and lead guitarist of the thrash band Predator from Florida. Damien and I kind of crossed paths on Facebook, I want to say about a year and a half ago. Somebody had played me Predator, and as I always do, I hit the band up and say, hey, I like your stuff, and where can I get a hold of a copy? Because, I kind of do this whole collecting thing. Damien was more than gracious to tell me where to go to get the stuff, and I very soon received the first Predator and the second Predator, Born in Blood, in the mail. And incredible stuff. And ever since, I've been a fan. And so today I would like to pick his brain to ask him where it all started and just a lot about, his past, from what his influences were to how the band got started to why he does what he does, why he writes what he writes. So please sit back, enjoy, and watch this, because there's a lot of really cool stuff in here. Damien is a really cool guy, really laid back, and a really nice guy, and he deserves to have much success as well as his band. So sit back and check this shit out. My first question is, Damien, we all have our own, what I call, metal journey in how we get to where we've come as far as being a metal fan, regardless of if we're in a band or not. And so I was curious, what would be the first heavy metal band that you heard of or heard that maybe sparked your interest in this genre of music?
What got me into metal? Well, I started middle school, and I hadn't been in the States all that long, and a bunch of the other kids in school were wearing Kiss patches and Kiss book covers. And so it made me a little curious, with the face paint and all that stuff. And, to be honest with you, I really did not like the band. And still to this day, I don't like Kiss. I thought, well, let's not even go there. But what that did was it opened the doors to other bands. And, there were a lot of bands at the time in the 70s, like Aerosmith, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Uriah Heep, just to name some. But that was, one of my entry points into heavy metal.
What band was it that got you into heavy metal, that made you want to seek more music in this genre?
I think it's fair to say that it was Black Sabbath that made me a metalhead. To this day, I'm a huge fan. I love everything they've done, with one or two rare exceptions. I don't like the Forbidden album at all, but, everything they did, especially later on when they got Ronnie James Dio in the band, that was a fantastic era for them. But, with Black Sabbath, it's kind of special. You remember every riff, and whether every metalhead out there wants to admit it or not, there's a bit of Sabbath in everyone. They started the shit,
You play lead guitar for Predator, and you play really well. So I was just kind of curious, what made you want to start playing the guitar in the first place?
What got me into playing guitar? Well, lots of things. The thing is that I liked other kinds of music, and there were a lot of impressive guitar players in my culture, with flamenco music, classical music, and electric guitar was also quite impressive. I was quite impressed by the guitar players out there playing rock and other things, and it's just the overall sound of the guitar gotta admit it, every time you hear the intro of a rock song that starts with a guitar, it grabs you. It really does. It gets your energy going.
I remember when I was in fifth grade, they offered guitar lessons at my school, and my parents got me my first guitar, which was a Washburn. Forgive me, I'm not a huge guitarist, so it was a Washburn, just a standard style, and I still have it kind of maroon colored. What was the first guitar that you got? And do you remember who got it for you, or did you have to earn the money to buy it yourself?
My first guitar was some piece of plywood crap from Sears that the family got for me, but I just could not play that damn thing. So I got myself some work around the neighborhood. I would help out neighbors painting a fence or whatever, walking their dogs, and I saved and I saved and I got my first guitar, which was a BC Rich Eagle that I had until recently. Well, I play my own guitars now. Mine are way better.
What was the process in which you learned how to play the guitar? Did you learn from a teacher? Or did you take any courses, or do you go? Some people go to school for music. Just kind of curious, what path did you take in the process of learning how to play your instrument as well as you do?
Well, the guitar and I are practically inseparable. I really can't put them down. As you can see here, got my collection of handmade guitars that I make. That's my own brand. Well, the thing is that I went to Lehman up in New York. I have a guitar performance degree, and I also studied at the University of Barcelona. I dig every style of guitar music, pretty much everything, and I try to implement that into the Predator style. I like everything, but to this day, I still spend many hours practicing, and I do it for the fans because I have to be in top form every time I go out there and kick ass. So, yes, I'm sweating it out for you guys.
This is going to force you to think back a little bit. Can you name the band that you first were in ever? And do you remember anything about it, the style of music that you played, or anybody that was in the band, and what kind of music you played?
Well, the first band I was in as a kid was some awful thing. It was called Purple Mantis, and the lead singer was this 19-year-old girl. I was 17, and she was my first lay.
How did the band Predator get formed? I mean, there's always that story, that underlying story behind every band and how they got formed. Is it people that you knew that came together? Is it people that you sought out to form a band? What is it exactly that came to be to cause Predator to form in the first place?
Well, Predator was formed initially as a recording project with a former student of mine who's a really great guitar player. He's no longer in Predator, but basically it was just a recording project, and we wrote songs together, we recorded, added drums, added bass, and before you know it, added a lead singer, and before we realized that we had something really amazing in our hands. It was an unstoppable band, great songs, great sound. So that's how it went. And the cool thing was as soon as we recorded the album and pressed it onto CD, it was immediately, literally the same. Within 2 or 3 days, it was picked up by Arctic Records, the same label that has a lot of those death bands in Florida, like Cult of Azazel and others.
So once you had the lineup set, how much trouble and how much work was it to go about getting this first album, Predator, released and recorded? What kind of troubles and struggles were there in the recording process, and then getting it out to the people, getting it issued by a label, and all the things that go along with that most fans don't really know about if they've never been in a band before?
Well, As with anything, it is very, very expensive to make a record, to make a CD or vinyl or a tape. Even in the 80s, it was expensive. You know, you have to go to studios, you have to pay for an hourly rate, and then once you have that product, you have the enormous cost of putting it into CD or vinyl or tapes. So, I mean, we don't do vinyl right now, but on CDs, even when we get a bulk rate, it's still expensive. So it's nice when the boxes get empty and the distribution company asks for more copies. But I think lately what's been happening is that we're selling more downloads than actual physical copies of our CDs.
So with the first CD coming out, once you had it, all the things worked out and all the I's dotted and the T's crossed, and you finally got it recorded and out there, how hard was it to get it out in people's hands? And how well did it do once it got out there into the public and into the mainstream for people to purchase?
Well, the thing is, it wasn't difficult at all to get the CD out there. The thing is that with the label backing and the distribution company MVD, it was immediately placed on Amazon and iTunes and a bunch of other e-stores throughout the world, not just in the States, but worldwide. And it sold, it picked up, more than we would have on our own independently. Unfortunately, there's a lot of sites where people upload stuff and people snag it for free, so that, of course, affects everybody's record sales. It's something we have to deal with internet out there. So you guys out there, if you love Predator, support us, man, because we do this for you.
I know I collect music. I'm psycho. But I was just curious, and I always ask people that are in bands this. Do you collect music? And if so, how long have you been collecting?
Oh, hell yeah. I'm a big-time collector. I think in my CD collection alone, I have roughly about, 1,500 CDs, and more than half of those are metal. But metal, obscure metal from all over the world. Some bands that no one's ever even heard of. I've got quite a vast collection.
What's the biggest show that you guys ever played as Predator, and who were the acts that you opened up for when you played?
The biggest show we've ever been a part of so far was when we opened for Iced Earth. On that tour was also Revamp and Sabaton. It was quite an experience, but it was one of those Spinal Tap nights for us with so many people against us. We didn't have any stage space at all, but we kicked ass. The thing is, you always try to do the best that you're served with, and don't let anything affect you. Don't let negativity set the tone for the rest of your night. We do it for you guys, and we kick ass, and that's what we do best.
I think there's some value in people knowing a little bit about the person and not just the band, and without getting too deep. So Damien, where were you born, and where did you grow up?
Actually, I was born in New York City. I guess what's considered legal U.S. ground, since it was purchased, not stolen. Well, anyway, I didn't grow up there. Did a lot of growing up in other countries, but mostly I did my growing up in Spain. And saludos a todos de Barcelona.
Damien, when you and I were younger, this music was just starting to explode, and so you started to see all these bands expand and all these different bands come out. But today it's just nuts. It's just crazy. Everywhere you turn, there's a new band, there's a new album, and there's just so much out there to really fathom. What have you heard of the new music that's out there, and what do you think of the new music that's coming out these days?
Man, about today's music, like anything else from every period, some of it is good, some of it is not so good. Um, you know, a lot of the times it's my students who turn me on to new stuff, and sometimes I like it, and sometimes I really don't. But, we'll see how it moves, and I think more people are getting into the style that we're playing. Come on, you got to see, and you can't deny bands like Maiden that are still thriving, as well as Metallica. So it'll be interesting to see how the new turn of things.
There's fans of Predator out there, and I'm pretty sure most people that are in my groups and the groups that I follow that you're in, or Predator fans, pretty much know this already, but you make your own guitars. And you actually have offered, if people have an idea for a style guitar they want, that you can actually build that guitar for them. So, how did you get involved with that? And talk a little bit about your guitar building process.
Well, my guitar brand is called Damien Guitars, and I have a Wix site. I think you can access it by doing a search, Damien Thorr, DAMIENTHORR .wixsite.com/Damien Guitars. And I also have a Facebook page on it called Damien Guitars, and you can easily access it there. And all my models are there and prices and all that. But the best thing to do is just contact me personally through Facebook or through Messenger, and we can discuss making a guitar for whoever wants one. And I'm very reasonable, and the guitars are entirely handmade. The only thing I don't do is cut down the trees. But every guitar is unique, and by the way, some people have asked me to make them an Explorer or a Flying V or a copy of this or a copy of that. I can't. I don't want to get sued by any of those big companies, and so I only make the models that I design. Or if you want to design something, I'll build it for you.
I know recently you guys added Rick Mythiasin. You had a guitarist suddenly leave, and you've just recently added a new guitarist. What kind of future plans do you guys have as far as it goes with Predator? The last album was 2012, so here we are 5 years later. Are we going to hear some new material from Predator anytime soon?
For the future of Predator, well, we want to continue to make records. We have a live album that we want to do to represent the new sound with the new members, and subsequently record and release our third studio album, Castles in the Sky. It's already been written entirely. In fact, I wrote it a while ago. It was supposed to be out in 2013, but due to the internal problems in the band, it just wasn't possible. But I'm so ready to do it, and I can't wait for the fans to hear it, because I really think this is going to be our best ever. It's going to be amazing.
So you've had some lineup changes. Do you want to run down really quick just who your current lineup is with Predator? Maybe give a shout out to them. Be great.
The Predator lineup is myself on first guitar, Rick Mythiasin on lead vocals, and he's amazing and a great, great guy. Rick. And, Bill Gordon, Bill, Mike Heremana, Mike, and Darrin McNair. Darrin. Salutes for everyone. So anyway, it's a really strong lineup. Everybody kicks ass, and we really can't wait to go out there and slam.
We already touched on it a little bit on one of the previous questions that I asked, but with your new studio album, how far along are you? Have you got any songs written for that album? Are you still in the process of writing? Once you get the lineup secure and everybody ready to go, what kind of timeline are we looking at for getting a release on the new studio album?
The next studio album, as I indicated, is Castles in the Sky. I've already done the cover, designed it and painted it myself. All the songs are written. Among the songs on there are God's Hate, Wolves of Late Winter, Misery, Footsteps of Rome, Noble Nothing. I can't think of the other ones right now, but there's about a good 10 to 12 songs on there. and they're really great songs. Very heavy, very guitar detailed, and great vocals and everything, great melodies, and of course, uh, socio-political lyrics and atheism, fighting for justice and freedom from religion.
Those of us that follow Predator and follow you on Facebook and social media know you're really passionate about your beliefs with regards to atheism and also in some of your political views and beliefs and ideology. And so just kind of wanted to give you a chance to kind of share a little bit about where that came from and what you're all about. What's Damien's theory on things? What are you all about? And how do you think that could help Predator as you guys move forward?
Yes, we are an atheist band. We represent freedom for everyone and from the insanity known as religion, which poisons humanity and has been an impediment to our progress as humans for a very long time. So we want to keep all that stuff out of politics and out of schools, and we're working to be involved in those atheist rallies and events where Predator can perform, as well as other bands such as Bad Religion and others.
Damien, thank you so much for taking the time to answer these questions today. I really appreciate it. I know that you got a lot on your plate. I know you got a lot going on, and I know that it was hard to find time to do it, but I appreciate it, and I'm honored that you took the time, and I'm honored that you've actually talked to me about helping you get the name of Predator out there. I really truly think that you guys have something to offer, and from talking with you over the last year and a half or whatever it's been, just really have gotten a cool connection, gotten to know you through Facebook, and really looking forward to the day where you actually finally get somewhere close to Nebraska where I can actually see you play and meet you face to face and maybe shoot the shit with you for a couple minutes.
Thanks so much. You guys kick ass and keep it metal. Stay forever metal. And remember, Predator fans are the greatest people in the world. Seriously. Thanks so much.
I do want to put out a last plea to anybody that is watching that happens to know of or is a promoter for shows anywhere around the U.S. If you do or are, please hit Damien Lee Thorr up or go to Predator's Facebook page, Predator Fans of the World, and leave them a message and let them know with some contact information or whatever you can leave, so that they can hit you up. They are really looking to get outside of the area they've been touring in, get out away from Florida, and somehow get all the way across the U.S. to get their name out there even more. And it really is going to take a lot of support and help from the fans and a lot of you guys to help that happen. So please, whatever you can do to help get these guys some shows outside of their normal area would be great. They give them an opportunity to kind of weed the new guys in and get some shows under their belts and also possibly get some footage and some recordings for this live album that we all want to hear from Predator. So anyway, again, thank you guys for watching. Damien, thank you so much, man. I'll talk at you soon. In the meantime, everybody, stay metal.